There are no doctors, nurses, operating devices in the yearly quiet isolation ward of stray patients. I read this in 看见, an autobiography of a famous Chinese reporter, Jiang. I was frightened by the description. This chapter is regarding SARS period, 2003. I was born at that year, and I don't know a lot of things about that. I asked my parents about their experience in SARS period. They told me because they weren't in the severely infected region, they don't know a lot of things still. When I searched on the internet, I found a large number of statistics on the number of infected, the number of deaths, etc. But still, my only feeling towards that is fear. The fear of being infected, the fear of the same thing taking place again. I believe it will be too hypocritical if I say I truly understand them, I feel them. Because I haven't experienced like that before, so does my friends and relatives. 17 years later, coronavirus spread worldwide. I experienced it. And for each time my grandma asked me, how's going on with the pandemic? I open my WeChat, open the real-time statistics on pandemic coronavirus, and I tell my grandma the number of deaths, the number of people infected, the total number of infected, the most severely infected regions. After I finish my daily reports, my grandma comments on whether it goes better or worsens, how miserable it is. But something's missing here. In this digitalized world, I found it is quite easy for me to find a large number of statistics online. But in facing not such huge amount of statistics, my feeling still is just a fear and shocks. Something's missing here. When I'm thinking about the tragedy of this pandemic, there is an image of a little girl in my mind. This little girl is not a victim in the pandemic, but she is a Vietnamese refugee in a refugee camp in Hong Kong. I wasn't there before, but I saw an exhibition showing her portraits. This composition consists of 4 photographs of smiling Nguyen Thi Thuy, taken by the Chilean artist Alfredo Jiang. The reason why I still remember this composition clearly is possibly because of the way it is displayed and its profound implication. These photos are just 4 continuous snaps taken in a short time interval, capturing slight changes in her facial expressions. Each of the 4 photographs are put in a frame, and the order these 4 photos placed in the frame changes, leading to 24 different permutations. As a result, the spacious exhibition hall is occupied with the same composition. I totally perplexed at that time, especially when I saw the introduction of the artist Alfredo Jiang. He had shot more than 1,000 of photos at that refugee camp. Why didn't he put more photos to reveal the real-life situations there? I kind of found the answer from Alfredo Jiang's comments. Today, there are more than 65 million refugees around the world, searching for a new home, confronting tragedies of such enormous proportions. It is important to go beyond the abstraction of facts and figures and put a human face on what we are attempting to describe. With this project, I hope that the audience will identify Nguyen Thi Thuy and feel empathy for her and for all the human beings who suffer these tragedies. That is the definition of humanity. Instead of showing a large number of photographs of different refugees in that refugee camp, Alfredo Jiang chooses to focus on that little girl, Nguyen Thi Thuy. The effect, at least to me, is impressive, so that her image is still in my mind today. If the feeling I have is fear, when seeing a high mortality rate or a large number of refugees in the world, then the feeling I have is empathy when understanding the experience of that little girl. Putting myself into her shoes. After understanding the background of the composition, I stayed in that exhibition hall for a long time, viewing the photographs of that little girl around me. At that time, I was not frightened by the figure 65 million. Rather, I was reading her stories, viewing her portraits, thinking for her lives, and the millions of people who have similar stories as her. I kind of understand the definition of humanity, Facilitator just said. The ability to think for those who have the same state as us, human beings. In the period of coronavirus, I'm sick of hearing comments like, the coronavirus in this region is not that important. It is not that serious, because only a few people are losing their lives. Isn't that important? Isn't that serious? Although we receive a host of statistics every day on the impact of coronavirus, helping us analyze the effect and trend of coronavirus, I believe it is still important for us to think beyond the numbers, considering individuals in the tragedy, showing humanity. Because of humanity, we are willing to wear masks, send food and money to those severely infected regions, and console our infected neighbors. Because of humanity, we are not fearful anymore about our own situations and put priority to those who are suffering. Because of humanity, we want to help refugees, infected people, and ourselves. People with the same state, human beings. Thank you.